Hi, folks. How are you all doing? This is the Tennis World with a tennis expert. I am your tennis expert. Welcome to my viewers right around the world. I just want to review the French Open final and just let you know what happened there. I just feel like Alcaraz came out in that first set and he played like a very high level of tennis, and Zverev was nervous. He ran over the top of him. Second set, Zverev felt like he's waited this whole moment for a chance to win a Grand Slam, right? He's waited so long for this moment, and he knew the last time he was in a Grand Slam final, he lost it, and he had to live with the pain of that. And then he'd wait 4 years again. So he's like, I don't know if I'll ever get a chance. Down one set, he's like, I don't want this to slip away. So that drive of Zverev thinking like, this may be my only chance to get a Grand Slam, it's slipping away. He catches fire in the second set, right, guys? Fire. Plays great tennis, and Alcaraz is shocked, like, what's this? You're playing like you're on fire, and I didn't expect this extreme level, and he's kind of in shock, like, what do I do against this? And feeling nervous and nervous energy and all of this stuff. But then the third set, Zverev can't maintain that level quite, but still doing a pretty good level. Alcaraz steps it up and plays more aggressively and pushes Zverev around, exposes the lack of movement, gets up 5-2. Then again, he gets nervous, plays at a poor level, makes some errors, going for too much power near the line far too often, making too many errors, while Zverev steps it up and comes back and steals that third set. Now Alcaraz is, one, he's down 2-1, and two, he's just thrown away a set that he was up 5-2. So instead of like being up 2 sets to 1, you're down 2 sets to 1, and you threw away a set. And if you're Alcaraz, you must be feeling like this is a Grand Slam final. I had 2 sets to 1, and now I've got to put to the back of my mind the fact that I threw away a set. So do you get what I'm trying to say? You're going to feel bad, like I've thrown away a set. I've given it away. And you got that feeling like that was mine and it was sort of taken from me, but you took it from yourself in a way. And then you got to put that aside and face this tough position. I'm down 2 sets to 1. I need to play good. I need to play better. And to be down 2 sets to 1 and to come back at the same time you're facing disappointment, you threw away a set. Do you get what I'm trying to say? That's what he faced. But it didn't bother Alcaraz one bit. He won the last 2 sets like 6-2, 6-1, something like that. So one, to be down 2 sets to love. Once he was down 2 sets to 1, like to come back with the pressure of that, that's one issue. But then the feeling like you had the guy up and you were up 2 sets to 1 and you lost a set from 5-2, and now you have the disappointment to say like, this was taken from me. I should be up 2 sets to 1. This was stolen from me. I feel bad about like I threw this away, and I also feel bad I'm down 2 sets to 1, and then just to forget it all and win the 4th and 5th set for Alcaraz at 21 years of age. These young guys, they feel pressure mentally. If they're down 2 sets to 1 in the Grand Slam final, they're going to fall apart. But when you just threw away a set, you're going to be thinking about what happened. But he can just put away what happened and say, this is the reality. It's 2 sets to 1. Let me be the best player in the next 2 sets and do that. At 21, that was amazing what he did. About like if Nadal was at his good level, well, I think if we had like if he could have played Nadal a couple of years ago, Alcaraz, I think Nadal would win, because even if they were at an equal level and that match went to a 5th set, you got to think about Alcaraz he had cramps last year because of playing Djokovic and all Djokovic has done and how that affected him. But his idol growing up, the person he looked up to was Nadal, and that's what made him get into the game. Watching Nadal when he was young, but specifically watching Nadal, at the French Open. Like, that's the biggest thing. So if you have a final of the French Open against a guy who you grew up watching, who made you play the game in the first place, that's much more nerves than Djokovic. It's nerves to play Nadal anyway, but here in the final. So if something like they were equal level, they got to a fifth set. Do you get what I'm trying to say? He would have been nervous trying to take down his hero. And that would have been very, very tough for him. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And at the same time, Nadal, after winning all these French Opens and never losing the final, he's just going through the motions. So I don't think this level, because he's too inconsistent in and out. And like against Sinner, he gave away a couple of sets. He gave away a couple of sets, like the 5-2 set, the second set. Like, you can't just, like against Nadal at the French Open, give him 2 sets and say the 3 sets I'm playing, well, I'm guaranteed to win all 3. You won't win all 3. The times Djokovic or anyone else, they understand every single point. You got to be there every single point to fight. If you give away 2 sets and then you say, I'm going to turn it on, and I'm expecting to win all 3 of the sets I turn it on, at least you lose one of them and then you lose the match. So, yeah, I would just say, though, but for Alcaraz in this final, I would just say it's a great job. We've got a couple of questions in the chat about Nadal. I'll get that, but I would just say most players, they peak at 22. Like at this age, Djokovic had 1 Grand Slam, Federer had none, Sampras had none. Nadal had 3 at the French Open. He's got 3 on all surfaces. So he's not at his peak. Even though Nadal won early, like he started winning outside of clay at 22. So 22 is a big factor. He's not at his peak yet, but he's still able to find a way and win the big points and win Grand Slams and win 3 of them. So that's exceptional. Very exceptional. And I just think, like, if you look at the best players in history, where they were right now, Nadal with 3 Grand Slams at 21, Alcaraz with 3 Grand Slams, Sampras had none, Federer had none, Djokovic had 1. So you got Nadal and Alcaraz tied, but he's done it in 3 surfaces. Nadal at this stage hadn't learned to play outside clay. So he was brilliant on clay, but to do it the same number, but on 3 surfaces, and to do what Andy Murray, more than Andy Murray and Stan, because you got 3, but they did that in their whole career, but 3 surfaces. So yeah, I just think like he's in a great position. I think he's going to, like, the fact that he's here, I think he's going to win the most Grand Slams when it's all said and done. This fight between Nadal and Djokovic won't matter because I think Alcaraz, he's ahead of Federer at the same time. He's ahead of Djokovic. He's ahead of Djokovic. And he's tied with Nadal, but Nadal just did it on clay and hadn't learned the other surfaces. He's not just won Grand Slams on 2, but 3. So, and also another thing you got to understand, people like Nadal and Djokovic, they played at the same time. They took so many Grand Slams from each other. I just don't know if Alcaraz will face 2 players that good, like 2 other players in the big 3. So I think he's going to get the most Grand Slams. I think he's on track. When we look forward to the Olympics, I actually don't think that Nadal did too bad in this. First round match, because he was a few points away from 1 set all against Zverev. I think if they were 1 set all, Zverev would have panicked and dropped his level. Nadal would have got the confidence that he needs, more time on the court, and he would have ran over him. And remember this, Zverev was 1 set away from winning the whole thing, and Nadal was a couple of points away. So I just think when you've been away, it's not just the age. Like Nadal was away for 1.5 years, barely playing. So you can't just expect him to come back. But I feel like if he won this match and he got on a roll and got more matches, got more confidence, then maybe he could have done it. So I just think it's more, we don't know about his body yet, because you need to give a guy at least 6 months on the tour to have a chance to find his game. Does he have the health to do that? We don't know. But the fact that he very well could have beat Zverev, who almost won the whole thing. But I feel like he needed more matches, more clay matches, and he definitely, if they were one set all, and he got more a set, confidence, more time on the court. And if he beats Zverev, who knows? He was going to get better throughout the tournament, and Zverev almost won it anyway. So, yeah. So, yeah, I've said that. I do believe, because I think if either of Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic, they didn't play at the same time, even if there was a big 2, not a big 3, you add 5 Grand Slams to any of these guys. And then if it was a big 1, you add 10 Grand Slams. So the fact that Alcaraz right now is ahead of Djokovic, who had 1 at this age, ahead of Federer that had 0, and tied with Nadal, but Nadal had 3 French Opens. He's done on all surfaces. And then the fact that he probably won't face the challenge that these guys, the big 3, all playing together, I think he's going to smash their records. I think he's going to get 30 plus. So if he does, you heard it here first. But this is like I said, tied with Nadal. They had the same Grand Slams, but he's done it on all 3 surfaces. Djokovic had 1 at this age, Federer 0, Sampras 0. So this guy, I mean, your peak is in 22. That's in another year from now. So I think he's going to smash all these guys' records. That's what I'm going to think. And part of it is because he's great, and part of it is because he won't be playing like the big 3 all at the same time. And those are the 2 reasons that I say that. But yeah, I feel like Nadal, if he won that Zverev match, he could have got into form. He hasn't had enough matches. He could have won this thing, but could have. The Olympics, the same thing. But I think Sinner and Alcaraz are going to be your favorites. Djokovic with the health, playing on clay that doesn't suit his game, I don't see that. If Nadal can so yeah, I just think Nadal could get on a run and get confidence and win it. Alcaraz was probably the favorite. Sinner has a chance, but probably clay is his worst surface. Djokovic at this age on his worst surface, I don't think so. Nadal has a small chance, but I would say Alcaraz to win it again. And maybe Nadal and Alcaraz could get a gold here. But the issue is, I once saw Nadal play with Djokovic in doubles, and they lost straight sets first round. So just putting 2 good players doesn't guarantee it, but I think there's a chance. I've never seen Alcaraz play doubles. We don't know how, you need to sort of to go connect as a team, right? You need to connect as a team. So I don't know how they're going to connect as a team. But I'll tell you, the guy who wants it the most is Novak Djokovic. He wants this bad. And I really think he's upset it's on clay. I think he would have liked if they, like the top 8 tournament at the end of the year indoors, he would have enjoyed something like that in a best of 3 sets. Well, yeah, what I think is, in Sinner and Alcaraz, they're going to have a rivalry. But like I said, it's not a big 3. There's not 2 guys to take away Grand Slam. It's a big 2. So I just think, Sinner game, it reminds me a lot of Roger Federer. Like, he's got a better serve than Alcaraz. On a faster court, having a bigger serve is rewarded and has much more big of an impact. Things that Alcaraz are better, like speed, court speed, defense, that's taken away on a faster court. So I see Sinner being better than Alcaraz at the Australian Open and Wimbledon, while I see Alcaraz being better at French Open and US Open. But the best of the Grand Slams for Alcaraz for them to play is the French Open, because it slows down the court, it takes away Sinner's biggest advantage, and it accentuates Alcaraz having a big forehand for a slow court to finish the point. and his defense, it matters more. But then, so I think US Open, French Open, Alcaraz is better. Wimbledon, Australian Open, Sinner is going to be better. Um, um, so I just think but Sinner reminds me a lot of Federer. Like he's got about the same court speed of Federer, the serve, the attacking game. So I think Wimbledon's going to be his best Grand Slam. But the difference between him and Federer had a weak backhand. His ground strokes are more with the Federer style, but more like Djokovic ground strokes with a backhand and a forehand. Both reasonably good. Maybe the backhand a bit better. But overall, it's sort of the attacking style of Federer and just sort of okay on the defensive side. So just think if Federer didn't have that weak backhand, how good would have he been? Well, that's what Jannik Sinner is. That's what I believe. But then at the same time, I think Alcaraz takes the best of Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic. His forehand's like Nadal. His backhand's like Djokovic. He's got the speed and defense of Djokovic and Nadal. He can even volley sometimes like a Pete Sampras, and he's got a better drop shot than anyone else. So while Sinner takes the best of Djokovic and Federer, I think Alcaraz takes the best of Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, and Pete Sampras. But then Sinner's closer to his peak. He's only 21. But yeah, I'm saying 30 Grand Slams for Alcaraz. Let's just say we're in 2024 right now. Let's just say by 2037 he'll be 34 about. So I'm going to say then we're going to be talking about he'll be at 28, 29, closing in on 30 in the year 2037. Well, how can he get if he's going to have a rivalry with Sinner? How did Djokovic get to 24 Grand Slams with Nadal and Federer? So Sinner's just one player. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So like, if Djokovic only had Nadal or Federer to deal with only one of them, he would have got to 32. That's my point. So like, if he's just as good as a Djokovic or Nadal, but then he's only got one guy, it's a big two, not a big three. Then he's at 24, but then he's got one challenger. And this challenger, we can't be as guaranteed if he'll be as good as those two. And I think you've got to look at Alcaraz's age. He's just turned 21. Sinner's about to turn 23. Sinner's in his peak now. Alcaraz is not. That's another thing to think about. But I just think like unless there's two other guys like on that big three level, then Alcaraz gets 30. If not, he gets around 22 to 24, depending on his health. He's either a Nadal or a Djokovic. But if he doesn't face that competition, he's up in the 30 or in the 30s. So it's going to be a great career. Well, yeah, the last thing I'll just say is probably Alcaraz is not quite as good as Nadal on clay at this age. But again, Nadal wasn't that good on the other surfaces this age. He'd not really won anything outside of clay at 21. Alcaraz has won all three surfaces. So if you just focus on clay alone, at 21, Nadal might be better because he had 3 French Opens. Alcaraz had 1. But Alcaraz has 3 Grand Slams in all surfaces. So I just think like overall, Alcaraz is in a better place than Federer, Nadal, or Djokovic at this age across all the surfaces. But if you're just talking about clay, sure. Even at 21, Nadal was the best we ever had on that surface. So anyway, that's my video for today, guys. Subscribe, bell notification, thumbs up. Come back around next week, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to preview the French Open. Wimbledon. I'm going to preview Wimbledon later next week. And that's what I'm going to do. So just come back and be here for my next video, Wednesday, Thursday next week. And yes, Alcaraz has cramps and issues and all of that, but I still stand by the 30 Grand Slam mark because he's stepped up semi-final and final fourth and fifth set. Came back, stepped up. He starts out nervous, but even Wimbledon, what bigger moment could you get? Wimbledon is the Grand Slam they all want to win. It's the historic Grand Slam they want to win. Facing Djokovic in that final fifth set, and he hit 18 winners and 4 errors. And this guy was 20 years old, not even 21. So, no, this guy's getting 30. So anyway, guys, subscribe, bell notification, thumbs up. Come back Thursday, Friday next week for my Wimbledon preview. Subscribe, bell notification, thumbs up. Thanks for being with me, guys. Have a great week, and see you guys later next week. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, bell notification. Let your friends know about the channel. Bye for now.